for Macros Simplified. So we are going to start from this nutrition hierarchy pyramid. And you'll see here we're talking about what is important and in what order for creating a nutrition plan for you. Okay, so adherence and sticking to your plan is going to be most important. Okay, we're going to work our way up. So energy balance, depending on what your goals are, we have to balance energy in and energy out to get the results that we want. Micronutrients, so vitamins, minerals, those are, I would say, more important than hitting your macros in terms of overall health. However, they're not going to be necessarily the most important when it comes to weight loss or muscle gain or even maintaining weight. So depends on your goals, but my goal is always overall health, and so micros are always going to come in priority there. The second to last is going to be macros, which we are going to go over mainly in this presentation, and then supplements. So as you can see, supplements are at the very top, and they are a very small part of reaching any kind of compositional health goal. Okay. The first component, adherence. Okay, the best diet is the one you will stick with. There are lots of different ways to lose weight. There are meal plans all over the internet if you want to find them, but one doesn't really mean anything to you when you are blindly following a plan that was not made for you and that doesn't take into account your lifestyle and your current habits. Okay, so motivation is fleeting, right? We can be all excited about this specific goal or a new program or something like that, and after a couple weeks, life happens, our excitement and our motivation fades. So this is where discipline comes in. One, this is also where the importance of creating habits that work around your lifestyle and that are going to be solidified throughout your lifestyle are so important. Okay. The other thing is to really dig deep and find a why. Okay, losing weight is fine, and that's a good, right? That's the result. However, we need to dig a little bit deeper. Okay, are you looking for more confidence? Right? Who's not going to feel better when you're stronger? You know you're taking care of yourself. That creates a huge sense of pride. Okay. Do you want to just feel better for daily life? Are you trying to have more energy? Are you trying to keep up with your kiddos? Do you want to teach them good habits? Okay, so really digging deep into a why, kind of behind your why. Okay, so you usually tell someone your goals and you're like, I want to lose X amount of weight. I want you to keep asking yourself why. Okay, so long story short, the best laid out plan in the world is not going to work if you don't stick to it. So your adherence, your sticking to the plan, is the most important factor. Stay focused on your why and create habits that are sustainable. So, energy balance. What is energy balance? Energy balance is the balance of calories, okay, which we'll go over in just a second, but calories in versus calories out. The first equation here, if calories in are greater than calories out, you're going to have weight gain. You are in a caloric surplus, okay? If your calories in are less than your calories out or calories expended, okay, you are going to see weight loss or you are in a caloric deficit, okay? And this is the simplest way to put it. The application of this is not always that simple, okay? So there can be various reasons why you are not losing or gaining weight, and it could have to do with your macronutrient composition. It could have to do with your hormones. There are a lot of different reasons. So the application, again, not so simple, but this is the bottom line reality. Okay, so again, if your goal is weight loss, right, and you're not losing weight, technically you are not in a caloric deficit. Okay, there's various reasons for this. You could have metabolism downregulation. Your hormones could be a little bit out of whack. Things aren't functioning, optimally. This doesn't necessarily mean that you need to continue to decrease calories. There are other components at play that need to be addressed prior to that. Okay, so that might mean you need to go into a reverse diet or various other things. We will get into those later, but this is as simple as it gets. Okay, energy balance. So macronutrients. What are macronutrients? Macros, for the shortened version. These are the main nutrients that make up your diet. Okay, they consist of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, which are the three first things that you will see on any kind of nutrient label on the box of whatever it is. Okay, these nutrients are measured in grams or ounces. They're usually on grams in the nutrition thing, and then you can weigh them by ounces or grams, and they are converted to calories from there, which we'll go over the math of that later. But the grams is the first thing that you're going to see when you look at a nutrition label. And you will find the nutrition label breakdown in the nutrition guide, and you may add it to this video later. So, calories, let's break it down even more simply, okay? What are calories? They are simply and quite literally a measurement of energy, okay? So when you eat and you're taking in calories, you are literally giving your body energy, okay? They were initially defined as the amount of heat it took to increase the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. And this was how they determined what 1 calorie was. That has since been kind of debunked because it depends on the initial temperature of the water. So now it's defined as raising from 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. However, calories are actually so small of a measurement that technically what we use is kilocalories. So it's 1,000 calories in our 1 calorie. They've just simplified it for us. And so we just refer to them as calories. Okay? But they are a very small unit of measurement, and that is what a calorie comes from, and it is talking about the amount of energy that you are going to get from something that you eat. Okay? So we will start with protein. Protein, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. Oh no, whoops, oh no. What have I done? 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. So when you do that math, okay, you're going to multiply however many grams of protein are in whatever you're eating by 4 calories, and that will give you a total caloric intake of that protein, okay? Ideally, you want protein to be at least 20 to 35% of your total calories for general population. Okay, there are times when it may be more or less depending on the reason. That's rare. Okay, proteins are made up of chains of amino acids. They are the building blocks of our body. They form the major structural components of the muscle as well as the brain, nervous system, blood, skin, and hair. They transport vitamins and minerals throughout the body, those micros, right? And they help balance bodily fluids, and in a caloric deficit, they can be used as energy. So, I tend to make protein a top priority in nutrition goals at the start, mostly because protein is, 1, important for building and maintaining muscle. 2, because it is very satiating. So if someone is going to be in a caloric deficit, having enough protein can actually keep you full for the day without going over calories. My approach is always an add, as opposed to take away, because adding things in then just kind of helps push out the things that you don't want. There have also been studies that show that protein, regardless of the over consumption of it, which kind of goes against our calories in, calories out, but regardless of how much protein you eat, you will not gain fat from it. So this is a pretty revolutionary study, but it just goes to show that essentially you will excrete it elsewhere. So usually you'll find protein in the urine, but the kidneys will process it, and you will excrete it. So it's not actually something that you have too much of, and you'll find that it's actually, like I said, you'll usually be full before you could eat too much of it anyways. So requirements for protein. So to build, again, and to maintain muscle, you need at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. Okay, so lean body mass is our everything that is not fat. Okay, so bones, organs, skin, and so that is how you figure that out, and there are various ways to find that. So you can use a general calculation based on about what your body fat percentage is. If you can go get a DEXA, a BMI calculation, you can do calipers and take skin fold measurements. There are various ways to find that, but in general, you can do some kind of guesstimation in terms of where you're at based on your kind of perceived body composition. Okay. Sources of protein include beef, seafood, poultry, eggs, dairy, beans, legumes, tofu, collagen, and powders, whey, egg white, and casein. There are lots of different sources of protein. They don't all have to be meat. If you are vegetarian, it does tend to take a little more intention to get your protein in and balance that with fats and carbs, but it is absolutely doable. So the serving size of protein is usually about 20 to 30 grams. For meat, that is about 4 ounces, which is about the size of your fist or your palm, depending on the thickness of it. And the nutrition guide has a lot more broken down references for you in terms of that protein and the sources of it and measurements when you're looking for serving sizes. So next on to carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are just like protein in that for every 1 gram of weight of a carbohydrate, it equals 4 calories. So if you're using a scale to measure, right, and you put whatever you had on there, your oats, oats you would ideally want to do dry, or you can just kind of take half the measurement because it's 50 water. So, but put it on there, you would times however many grams that comes up on that food scale by 4, and that would give you your calories for that measurement of carbohydrates. Okay, so ideally you want this to be 30 to 65% of your total caloric intake, and that again varies per person, per goal. Carbs are not your enemy. Carbohydrates are our body's main and preferred energy source. They serve as fuel for many metabolic functions, including the brain, anaerobic and aerobic exercise, and are required to efficiently break down fats. So if you are not getting enough carbohydrates, not only is your brain not working, your muscles aren't working, and your body cannot break down fat. So a low carbohydrate diet is not the only way to lose fat, and it's most likely slightly more detrimental than a lower fat diet, depending on the extent of it. Okay? So types of carbohydrates, there are 2 main types, simple and complex. Okay, simple, as you can guess, is they are processed foods. So they are quickly digested, causing an increase in blood sugar. They are high on what's called the glycemic index, which means they spike your blood glucose, so your blood sugar, okay? And they usually are lacking other nutrients that the body can benefit from. So things like cakes, candy, sugar, things like that are going to be breads even. So more complex. Complex can actually be broken down again, in which you'll see here. So oligosaccharides, which are mostly indigestible plant and fruit fibers. So that means that vegetables and fruits, right? The polysaccharides are going to be more starchy. They do have fiber and glycogenic. So that is where you're looking at your oats, your quinoa, squashes, things like that. Those are starchy carbs. But these carbohydrates are more complex. They're more slowly digested. They allow for balance in the blood sugar, and they also provide fiber and vitamins. Okay. Fiber is a type of carb that it helps improve digestive health and cholesterol levels, and it, as well as helps regulate the speed at which carbohydrates are digested. So it slows down that digestion by requiring your stomach to work on that fiber versus that simple where it's just quick, it breaks down. If you think of sugar melting on your tongue, right, that's how quickly it's breaking down in your body and immediately being dispersed into the bloodstream. So sources of simple and complex carbohydrates. Get myself out of the way. I just went over some, but simple breads, cakes, pasta, candy, pastries, etc. Again, processed, usually have added sugars. The serving sizes vary. This is completely dependent on the starch, especially when it comes to simple versus complex. This is broken down more in my nutrition guide, if you can look into that one. The complex, again, whole, naturally occurring, rice, oats, quinoa, potatoes, sweet and regular. There's benefits to both, winter squash, and then all fruits and vegetables, again broken down in that separate component of starchy and this graphic made me laugh. So fats, the last main macronutrient. This one is different. So fats, they are more bang for your buck. 1 gram equals 9 calories. Okay, so this is why we need less of them, because they are very calorically dense. They should make up about 15 to 35% of our total calories, again, depending on gender and your goals here. So, as well as preference, again, adherence counts. So, fats, however, do not make you fat. That's not how it works, okay? Fats provide energy and they aid in nutrient absorption. However, not all fats are created equal. Good fats contribute to healthy diet, and there are bad ones that can cause issues in the body, such as clogging the arteries, okay? So, as you can see, avocados, they are a good kind of fat. And so types include, so the healthiest fats are saturated. You do want to limit your intake of any kind of saturated fats. They are usually from animal products, or coconut oil is one. Ideally, you want that to be about 10% of your daily intake. The mono and polyunsaturated fats are the ones that you really want to focus on. So that's when you're looking at your nuts, your seeds, and avocados. Okay, the unhealthy fats, saturated fats in excess intakes, and then any trans and hydrogenated fats. These fats have been highly processed to make them more shelf stable so that the products on the shelf at the grocery store last longer. It's not necessarily the best for us, but it's more profitable. So these unhealthy fats generally turn into cholesterol. So there's 2 types of cholesterol. There is low density lipoproteins and high density lipoproteins. Sorry, those are that carry the cholesterol, okay? We ideally want more high density because they will break down the clogging of the arteries as they go through. The low density stick to the side and create that waxy substance that will eventually can clog the arteries. Okay, so fat cholesterol is the fat-like waxy substance produced in the liver and found in the cell membrane of all animal tissues to provide cell structure and integrity. Not all cholesterol is bad. Yes, there is cholesterol in eggs, but you should still eat the yolks. Bad, but too much is not ideal. Clogs your arteries. Sources of healthy fats include avocados, nuts, seeds, fatty fish, coconut oil, butter, and ghee. Again, coconut oil and the butter and ghee, or any kind of animal fats, you do want to limit. However, they are good for you. There are minerals and vitamins in it that your bodies need. Unhealthy fats are trans and hydrogenated fats. Again, they've been processed to keep longer on shelves. So soy, canola, vegetable oil, they're mostly found in chips, cookies, cakes, and margarine. So 1 serving is about 15 grams and about 150 calories. Again, so I find that by timesing 15 grams by 9 calories, which equals about 150, a little bit less. And that's usually about a tablespoon of a fatty oil or a handful of nuts, half an avocado, things like that. You can find more on that in the nutrition guide. So, what does this look like and how do we add this all up? let's say we are looking at a meal, okay? We're converting grams, so we're converting grams of your macronutrients in the meal that you are eating to the amount of calories, okay? So protein, 4 calories per gram. You have one serving. You have 25 grams of protein on your plate. You have a chicken breast, okay? That weighs 25 grams of protein. It probably weighs about 4 ounces, okay? So you're going to times that 25 grams by 4 calories, and you have 100 calories of protein. The carbohydrates, say you have a cup of rice. Again, we are at 4 calories per gram, okay? One serving is about 35 grams, keep saying that, 35 grams of carbohydrates, which looks different in ounces, okay? Depending on how you're weighing, the weight of your product does not equal the grams of the nutrient, if that makes sense. So if you would have probably like maybe 100 grams weight-wise on your scale of oats, okay? That's not 100 and, plus, what did I say, 105 grams of protein, okay? That is grams of oats. And in those oats, which this you would be looking up and you would be inputting this into MyFitnessPal or another calorie tracker, that would give you the amount of carbohydrates that are in that cup of oats, okay? That is what you would then convert to your calories. So don't take the number directly from the scale to convert it to calories. You have to look it up, look what those grams convert to into that macronutrient, and then convert it to the calories, okay? So 35 grams of carbohydrates in that serving times 4 calories, 140 calories of carbohydrates, okay? And lastly, your fats. Again, they are 9 calories per gram. So you have one serving of fat. Say you used a tablespoon of avocado oil to cook your chicken breast, okay? You can weigh that tablespoon, or you can take that tablespoon as the measurement, plug it into MyFitnessPal, see what it comes out at. It's going to come out at about 15 grams of fats, okay? You're going to multiply that by 9, and it's going to come out to about 135 calories of fats, okay? So to add that all up, you have 100 calories of protein, 140 calories of carbs, 135 calories of fat for a 375 calorie meal. Again, I am more interested in you hitting your macronutrient numbers than any specific meal calories per meal target, but I want you to know and be familiar with this and know what that looks like, okay? So, remember, this all takes time to learn. I want to simplify this for you, and I hope this was not confusing. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Please ask. I want you to practice these things. I want you to play with them in whatever app you are using. The more you do it, the faster, the easier it will get. I can currently look at a plate of food and guess within 150 to 200 calories at the very most, break down the macronutrient contents almost to the gram. I have done this for a very long time, and I don't expect you to get that proficient in it. However, it is a learning tool and it's a learning process. So focus on small goals, one day and 1 week at a time, that we are either working on together or you are breaking down yourself. And remember that it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. So I bring you fitness simplified.